Hi, the internet. Welcome to the What Else Show. I'm your host, Robert. This is Bethany.
Hi, internet.
And today we've got a brand new What Else Show for you. Bethany, what else are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about the first episode of Married with Children.
That's right, the first episode of Married with
Yes.
Children. Bethany, what day did it first air?
April 5th, 1987.
1987.
Yeah, 87.
Last episode airing.
June 9th, 1997.
Ran for 10 years on the Fox network.
Yes.
Sunday nights, I remember it as a child.
Yes.
How many episodes?
259 episodes, 11 seasons.
That's a lot of episodes.
It's a lot of episodes.
Was a hit for a reason.
Yes.
Okay, we watched this on Hulu.
Hulu, yes.
All the episodes are right there on Hulu.
Starring Ed O'Neill. Are we saying the names of the characters?
Ed O'Neill as Al, Katie Seagal as Peggy, Christina Applegate as Kelly, and David Faustino as Bud Bundy.
Yes. The Bundys.
Did I ever tell you I went to Disneyland once and saw Bud Bundy there?
When?
A long time ago. I was a little kid.
What was he doing? He was just like walking around Disneyland?
Yeah, just walking around Disneyland. He had his entourage with him.
Wow.
What is your history with Married with Children?
I did not watch the original run of Married with Children, I don't think.
Oh, really?
I definitely did not watch like the first episode. When I started watching it, I think the kids were a little bit older.
This was a must-see viewing for my family and I. It was like we set our days around watching this show. We would watch In Living Color and this show on Sunday, and then eventually The Simpsons. I believe that came on a little bit later. I don't remember.
We're not sure about that.
Yeah, but it was like that Sunday night on Fox. Fox was the edgy network, and Sunday night was the time for edgy comedy. Edgy comedy shows.
Edgy comedies. Yes.
Edgy comedy shows on Sunday nights. Mm-hmm. And Married with Children was right in there. It was like, oh my God, we got to get home before Married with Children starts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never had that relationship with like any of the Sunday night
Appointment viewing.
Fox stuff. Yeah, I think I watched Married with Children when I was still a lot older.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, originally, I did not think this show would hold up. I don't remember it being that funny when I was a kid.
I didn't think so either.
And I was thinking, oh, this is probably just, edgy, shocking material that's not really going to be that funny. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to tell you right now, this first episode got a few chuckles out of me.
I definitely laughed.
And as far as
laughed.
First episodes go, this is a very strong first episode.
It was. If I had watched this episode, I would have stuck with it.
Talk about what happens in this first episode.
All right, let's get into it. We'll set the scene. Okay, so it's the pilot episode, first episode, the intro.
Frank Sinatra.
Yes. Love and Marriage, Frank Sinatra. And where did we decide they live? Because they're showing Chicago. Okay, because they're showing scenes of like the city, but I can't really place anything definitively. So
I'm saying Chicago. I think I know they live in Chicago, but they were talking about going to the Bulls game, and they said the Lakers were in town.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, there you go.
So I'm pretty sure they live in Chicago or a suburb of Chicago.
Yes. Okay, so the episode opens.
Let's talk about this intro first.
The intro. Oh, okay. Sorry.
What do you think about the intro?
Really fun intro.
Yeah, it's fine. What they get through in the intro is that Al is giving everybody money.
Yes.
He gives his family money is
yes.
what the intro points out.
And he's handing out money and he's not happy about it.
He's unhappy and he's handing out money.
Yep.
Yeah, that's basically the intro. Show starts out.
Yes, it starts.
Kelly is sitting on the couch, and Bud comes up behind her and is like pretending to be a Rambo type character and coming to slit her throat.
Yep, with like a
plastic knife.
Plastic knife.
I was shocked to see how young the kids were in this first episode. Bud is like
He's real
grade school age, and then Kelly must be maybe freshman in high school age. And right away, you can see how it's like a contrast to normal Brady Bunch type sitcoms. Mm-hmm. They want to make it clear right away, oh, these kids are mischievous. We're not hiding that mischievous side of children for the audience, and these two kids fight all the time. bad families do.
Yeah. It's like they're a couple of no good nicks. And so like you'd right away that they just show you. They're like, they're no good nicks. So Bud and Kelly are goofing around and Peggy's trying to get them to stop. And then they just kind of very abruptly leave for school.
Right.
And they're walking out the door and Kelly turns around and tells Bud, I hate you. And he's like really happy about it.
I hate you. Good.
So again, just very dysfunctional. Like these kids have a very dysfunctional relationship, unlike other sitcoms on TV.
Right.
I feel like that's
what
they were going for. Okay. So then we see Ed come down.
Al. Yeah. Ed O'Neill. Al.
Ed O'Neill. I'm calling him by his actual name. Al
Bundy.
Yes. I can tell the difference between reality and fiction. I swear.
You see Jay Pritchett walk right down the stairs.
Okay. So Al comes down the stairs and he's obviously rifling for something to eat. He gives Peggy a hard time. His hand is bandaged. Right. He gives Peggy a hard time because she put a cactus right where the alarm clock was and she didn't really think twice about that. And so his hand is bandaged.
Right.
Apparently
he's looking through the refrigerator, looking for some food, looking for some juice. The juice is a running commentary of the show. There's no juice in the house. He wants juice. Peggy doesn't do the shopping, even though she doesn't have a job.
Yes. So it's like the whole episode, he just wants some juice. Like that's his thing.
They go back and forth, jabbing at each other for a little while. Yes. And then in the next scene, we see Al at the shoe store he works at. He's trying to get a size 7 shoe on a size 9-foot woman, and she's not having it, and he is rude to her, and she leaves. Al's friend is there. He's kind of like a womanizer type, and he's helping a woman with her shoes, and he invites Al to the Bulls basketball game. He has an extra ticket.
Yes.
And Al says he's definitely going, and he doesn't have to ask. And in the next scene, when he gets home, Peggy tells him, no, you can't go to the basketball game. We have people coming over.
Yes. So they argue about that a little bit, and then she plays the I'll spend all your money card if you don't stay home.
The bank book is in both of our names. The credit cards are in both of our names. And the stores are still open.
And so he takes off his jacket and he stays home. I thought that was really funny. So she threatens him with shopping. They're home. They're waiting for company. He's giving her a hard time for making him stay home. And then we see Steve and...
Hold on.
Oh.
Bud comes in and Bud's like, hey, can I get $5? And Al's like, you have to work for your money. And he's like, okay, I'll tell you who Kelly was with earlier today. And then he puts his hand out and Al gives him the $5 and he says she was with a guy named Cobra.
Yeah.
And then he gives him another $5 for a little bit more information, but I don't remember what it was. Next thing, Kelly comes home and she asks Al for $10, and he says, what about this guy Cobra, blah, blah, blah. And then Peg's like, just give her some money, and Cobra's nice, and then she takes the money and she takes off. Al didn't want to give her money and wanted to give her a bigger, more difficult time about this Cobra character, but...
Yeah.
He doesn't get to do anything. Now is when the Rhodeses come in.
Yes.
Steve and Marcy Rhodes.
Yes.
I don't know if
Marcy Rhodes.
I don't know if they call them the Rhodes in this episode. I just remember that's their name from a long time ago.
Yes, we do hear them say Rhodes in this episode.
Okay.
Yeah. So Steve and Marcy show up. And Peg makes a comment, I'm sorry, I have nothing to serve you.
And Al tells them there's a store a few blocks away. And if you're going there, pick me up some juice.
Yes.
Because of the juice situation.
He just wants his juice.
They sit down and they start talking, and they're newlyweds. They've been married Steve and Marcy are newlyweds. They've been married 2 months. Mm-hmm. Al and Peggy have been married for 15 years. And, they're like, what's the secret to your marriage? And Al and Peggy go back and forth with jabs at each other. They kind of get a feel for each other. Mm-hmm. This is where a lot of the comedy comes in, is that Al and Peggy don't really like each other.
Yeah.
and they take a lot of jabs at each other. And I think in this first episode, they're trying to get across that they just take jabs at each other. They do really like each other. But I think as the series goes on, it's like, no, they don't like each other.
It gets like worse.
Yeah, it gets more cartoony, it gets worse.
Yeah.
The idea here is like they have feelings for each other still, but like they just like to poke at each other. But I think later on in this, from what I can remember later on in the series, is like, oh, they actually do not like each other. So they're sitting there talking for a while, and the Peggy and Marcy go into the kitchen to make coffee. Al and Steve are there on the couch, and Al convinces Steve that he needs to watch sports because previously they discussed Marcy and Steve don't watch sports because Marcy does not like sports. So they get into their sports, and they're talking, and Peggy and Marcy are in the kitchen talking, and Peggy is telling Marcy that Steve should not be able to have any fun on his own. No fun without her.
Yes.
When Peggy and Marcy get back to the couch, Al and Peggy have both created a rift between them.
Yes.
By telling them things, that they believe to be true about relationships, each side.
Yes. And it's very funny.
It is funny.
It's funny.
Yeah. You would think it wouldn't be funny because it's kind of like a toxic relationship, but it's funny because they're poking fun at themselves. These are bad characters, and they're just hurting themselves, really. I mean, I guess they're hurting Steve and Marcy's relationship, but if Steve and Marcy are letting these simple words get into their head about, what relationships are like that's...
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the comedy of it, too. Because they're not like, hey, you should...
They're like so easily manipulatable that they're listening to everything Peg and Al are...
Yeah, taking their advice as gospel, Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I found that really funny. All their crap talking. So Peggy and Marcy have been making horrible coffee during this time while they were, chatting in the kitchen. And so they bring the coffee, they serve the coffee to the guys. It's horrible coffee. And Marcy and Steve get into it a little bit because Marcy sees that Steve is watching sports and she doesn't like that.
Right.
So she gets really annoyed at Steve, and she's like trying to be like cheerful annoyed. And Steve announces, well, I'm going to the basketball game next week with Al. And Marcy says, my mother's coming next week. And so they have like a little, they get into a little spat with Al and Peggy there.
A little tiff. This is close to the end of the show.
It's close to the end of the episode. And so Steve and Marcy, they're having their little tiff, and Marcy gets mad, and she said, we're going home right now because we need to talk. And so she leaves in a huff, and Steve leaves with her. And then after they leave, Peggy and Al are like sitting on the couch, kind of reflecting on what happened, and kind of, they're pretty proud of themselves for making fun of Steve and Marcy.
Yeah.
They're pretty proud of themselves for causing a problem. And then they go upstairs.
Yeah. Then they end up going upstairs like for a sexual encounter.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. They allude to that.
They do. Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the counter of like all the old shows too, is that like, even though this couple seemingly does not like each other, they're still gonna have sex together.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the show.
That is the end of the show.
And I thought it was pretty good. I thought it had a few chuckles in there.
Yes, I enjoyed it. I think if I had seen the first episode, I would have wanted to watch the rest of the episodes.
Yeah. Anything in there that you see that it might be like would not fly today?
There's a couple things.
Okay,
there's a couple things. So the first one where Bud walks up behind Kelly and pretends to slit her throat, like it is so super, like he's like right there with the plastic knife, and he's like cutting her throat, like fake cutting her throat. I don't know if that would fly. Also, when Al is at work, he makes a comment about the overweight woman that he's helping try on shoes. He makes an off-color comment about her weight.
Balloon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Her little kid wants a balloon, and he says something. You've already got one.
Yeah.
We're leaving.
I want a balloon.
You've already got one.
I don't know that as much wouldn't fly as it's not funny. It's not a funny joke.
No, it's not a funny joke, but also I don't think it would be like written into a show that takes place now.
I don't think it would be written in either because it's not funny, but I don't think it's problematic because Al is not a heroic character. They're trying to establish like he's a jerk.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, like the whole fat shaming thing is a very sensitive issue. You know what I'm saying?
It might have been worse.
I still don't think that it would be.
It might have been worse if it was funny.
On like a.
You know what I mean?
Like I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say because this show is so different than, first of all, like anything else that was kind of on at that time. And because, we have the benefit of like hindsight and what's going on now in modern culture. And like, well, honestly, I don't know. I don't know if that, but you're right. Like it wasn't really a funny joke.
Right.
It was.
Yeah. Just
for the sake of a joke.
It was just a cheap shot. It wasn't funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The episode could have been written without that joke in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like it wasn't necessary. So I'm not quite sure what they were going for.
Right. Well, what the joke should have been about is this lady is an asshole trying to fit into a size 7 shoe.
Yes.
And she wears a size 9.
Clearly she's not going to fit into that shoe. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And she really was a jerk about it.
Yeah.
So I feel like, yeah, there's more material there that they could have made, jokes out of. So
the one thing that sticks out to me that might be problematic in today's society is when he's talking to Steve, Al says, if you don't let your son watch sports, he's going to be a sissy Mary.
And I'm telling you, your son is going to be a sissy Mary if you let that woman take away your sports.
Oh, that sentence. Yes.
Yeah. And I don't even know what that means.
Is that a thing? I have never heard that phrase before. Sissy Mary? What is it? I don't know.
I hope we don't get canceled for saying it.
I have no clue what that means. I mean, I know what it means, but I've never heard it.
Like a feminine, I guess. Right?
I guess, but yeah, not cool to say.
Yeah, I don't think that would.
Not cool. Not cool, Al Bundy. Yeah.
That's really the only thing that really sticks out to me, though.
Right. Such a weird thing to say.
I mean, because if you say it,
is that like an Al thing?
Maybe.
Like, it's just like it's like an Al-ism?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. We'll
have to watch more episodes.
It's been a long time since I watched the show.
Says it again. Yeah, it was such a weird phrase.
Because it's not quite the same as like, oh, you can't let your kids not let your son watch sports. He'll come out effeminate.
Right.
That's what I assume.
Yeah.
Talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course. But I mean, he just said it so weird. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's really all I can think of that really like stuck out
in this first episode. Maybe it gets worse. Maybe it gets better.
I'm sure it gets worse.
I think it's got to get worse.
I think it gets worse.
I think people used to talk about this show as like, so edgy and crossing the line
for the time. Yes.
Yeah. What's funny is I think what got me the most is when Al and Peg go back at each other, just keep jabbing at each other.
Just like, yeah.
And then when
it's great. When they're so mean to each other.
When Steve and Marcy are there, they're kind of making jokes about them to each other, so they kind of get on the same side.
Yes.
And they're having reactions to the things they are saying to Steve and Marcy about Steve and Marcy.
They're like roasting Steve and Marcy on the sly, and like Steve and Marcy aren't quite.
They're not there for it.
Getting it. Yeah. It's so funny.
Okay. Well, do you recommend people watch the first episode of Married with Children?
I recommend people watch the first episode, and I'm really interested in watching more episodes because I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would.
Yeah, I think people should watch this first episode too, just to get a sense of what this groundbreaking show of when was it?
Edgy show.
1987 to 1997.
Yes.
Just to see what it was like, just to see like what was new back then. What was What was it? What was new comedy back then?
Yes.
What was edgy comedy? What was edgy sitcom comedy back then?
And it was Fox's longest running live action sitcom.
Oh, was that right?
Yes. So just, again, like it's very groundbreaking, but it also kind of holds that record with Fox. So I think it's worth checking out.
Do you have anything else to say about Married with Children?
I don't. You should watch the first episode. Really enjoyed it. It was great.
I'll take so. Thanks for watching, Internet. You can follow the show on Twitter at What Else Show. We're also on Instagram at The What Else Show. Please like, subscribe, and share on YouTube. And do you remember watching Married with Children on Sunday nights? Or have you never seen the show? Let us know in the comments. Bye, Internet.
Bye, Internet.
We had a picture of him. But not like a picture with us. It's just like, oh shit, look, that's Fred Bundy.
Yeah.